There we go.
One for Township, here's the Dunbar Road, Asian.
I don't see the countdown. Is that okay? We're just gonna roll with it because the video's picking up. It says I'm in the show.
Yeah, I just wonder if
It just says the browser failed. So. Mm.
And the horses have reached its post time.
Just do it.
Waiting for Synonymous and Finite. They're in the gate. And they're up. She dares the devil, pushed on for speed right off the mark. Out to take up by a length. Asian Girl comes on to grab second. En Boutant is away third and toward the inside as they hit the clubhouse turn where She Dares the Devil is out there setting the pace. Asian Girl up into second. Toward the rail is racing in third. Paris Lights in the clear up to be fourth. Dunbar Road in behind the early leaders running along 2.5 lengths off the lead. Synonymous is at the back with Finite. It's a very pack with 6 furlongs to go. And She Dares the Devil heading down the backstretch run. Leads by half a length to Girl. The opening quarter goes in 23 and 4/5 seconds. There's 5 furlongs to go. She Dares the Devil cruising along up top. Bayesian Girl second throughout. En Boutant with a covered up trip third and toward the end. Paris Lights is in the clear, racing fourth. Dunbar Road within striking fifth and 4 furlongs to go. Finite starting to put in a run from the back of the pack. And at the back is Synonymous. Around the far turn. She Dares the Devil still going strong. Holding on to the lead by a length. On top needs to find a way through. Dunbar Road is revving up with a run. Paris Lights is coming wide. Finite's in behind them. Fights on. They're at the quarter pole. She Dares the Devil turning for home. And only inside for En Boutant, and she tries to come up on through. Dunbar Road is there. Bayesian Girl. Finite is flying down the center of the track. Furlong to go. She Dares the Devil trying to hang in there. En Boutant is rallying down inside. Finite coming down the center of the track. She Dares the Devil though. Digs down deep. She Dares the Devil. Turns. En Boutant turns back. Finite and wins. She Dares the Devil. A length on the wire. En Boutant was second. Finite was third. And Bayesian Girl was fourth.
Well, after some brief technical difficulties,
Are we on?
we are live
Hey,
with
I had
Travis
2-1
Stone.
exacta box.
Nice.
We're live in the announcers booth. Travis Stone, the voice of Churchill Downs and the Kentucky. So Travis, say
How we
hello
doing?
to everyone.
Hello, everybody.
They're very impressed with so far. Asked you can do that. So if you would maybe tell us a bit about calling the race and maybe how you prepare,
Sure.
kind of what's going on there on your end.
So when the horses go on the track, I don't know if you can see it, just have silks on, and I draw or color in the silks that they're going to wear. Little pronunciation that horse, and I circle the favorite, a couple of long shots, and then miss and my binoculars to memorize the silks and the horses and call the race. Races like this are easy. Devil won the Oaks last year, so it's a horse that we've all seen. She's a little bit easier to memorize, but yeah.
So while we're in here with Travis, if you have any questions, add them down in the comments, and we'll try to answer as many as possible. So Travis, how long have you been calling races in general? And then when was your first Derby?
This is my 15th year calling. This will be my 7th Derby.
And what was your first Derby race? Big one, I think.
It was American Pharoah, 15. I'd never been to the Derby before and had to come to call it.
And how did you become a now race caller?
I grew up in upstate New York, and there's a racetrack there called Saratoga, which is just a really fun place to go in the summer. And we used to go all the time. And I just fell in love with horse racing and pretended to play races as a kid growing up. When I was about 12 years old, I wrote a letter to Tom Durkin and said, "Hey, I want to be a race caller. Can you tell me what to do?" He wrote me back, and that was sort of it for me. I always knew I wanted to do it. And here we are.
Now, do you ever get nervous before the races?
Yeah, I mean, on a regular Thursday or Friday, no. Days like today, yes. Tomorrow, for sure. I've had anxiety all week about it. But it's one of the best pieces of advice I got for dealing with nerves is maybe the most nerve-wracking part for a race caller is when they're in the gate and the race is about to start. And I was told, ask yourself if you'd rather be doing anything else, or would you trade places with anyone else in the world at them? And the answer is always no. And it's a great calming mechanism.
Oh, that's great. Life.
Yeah.
So Kelly has a question about your binoculars. So maybe you can elaborate. But she said, do you ever worry you're going to drop your binoculars? And why don't you have a holder for them?
Well, so I have a backup pair in case I do drop them. These have what's called an image stabilizer in them. And when you activate this button and turn it on, the image, you lose the shakes that you would have if you held it without that stabilizer. And I like the ability to sort of like move around and lean and bend over and do whatever I have to do. So these are really good binoculars. They're not cheap, but they're really good. And if I drop them, I pair. So just in case.
Bebop wants to know, what is your most beloved horse of all time that you've called?
That's a great question. Tepin would be up there. Justify. I was a big Justify fan. It'd probably be Tepin though.
Marianne wants to know how much a seat with Travis is.
Guys.
Yeah, there's some guests here.
No, so nobody sits with me all day, but I have guests that come all the time. This is a really cool experience for someone to come to the races and come up and watch a race. It's something you don't get to see. And sort of like inside baseball, so having even some random people here and there just come up and watch a race and see what it's like. I had a great tweet to me a few days ago where a guy said he brought it up to watch the race. They weren't even racing fans. They came up and watched this race, became fans, and they were away for the Derby this weekend. So it was like a booth visit that was worth it. Made some fans out of it.
That's actually, I've read here that have said it's one of the coolest things they've ever done. Non-race fans.
This isn't about race calling, but since we just scratched, she wants to know, when a horse is scratched, do they leave that gate empty? Do they move everyone else up and down? Which I know you can answer that.
So for this particular scratch, they're going to move everything that was breaking to his outside. So the inside does not move out one. Everybody outside of King Fury shifts in toward the rail.
Okay. Joe wants to know who you like in the Derby.
If I don't bet the Derby, but if I were to bet the Derby, the three horses I'd key around with are Midnight Bourbon, Dynamic One, and Hot Rod Charlie. Would be my three.
And I know you don't bet. Maybe elaborate on the fact that you don't bet.
Anybody that bets a horse race knows it's pretty hard to have money down and not cheer. And my job is to not cheer, so it doesn't really work for me to place money on. I mean, it sucks because it's the Derby. It's not very American to not bet the Derby, but I haven't bet the Derby since 2015. I get the shakes every year, but I don't do it.
That you may not want to share this, but Dave is curious what Tom Durkin put in the letter.
He said, well, I was 12. So go to school, do your homework.
Study hard.
stuff like that, and then practice. Just keep practicing and working at it, and just nonstop. Just keep working at it. Let me do this. And the winners of the presentation for the La Troyenne tip. The presentation of connections of She Dares the Devil. That was basically practice. You know, go to school, study this, study that. Very practice, and I took it seriously. Yeah, you know, the Oaks is a tough race. There's not a lot of pace. I think Malathot is really it's probably the horse to beat. If somebody beats her, it's probably Travel Column or Search Results. I don't really have a sexy Oaks bet. Nothing fun or unusual. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I want to see how Malathot does because she's had to overcome scenarios and trips less than advantageous for her, so she might be really good. Something pretty special today, but she doesn't have to work at it today because there's not a lot of pace in there.
Here's a good one. How do you learn the correct pronunciations? Some of these are very wild.
So Google, we'll call owners if necessary, or they call us, those of us that call races, and it's of hunting and pecking to try and find it. There's a horse in the Derby this year named, everybody's been saying Bourbon, but there's a pretty good chance it might actually be Bourbonic. And so everybody's been calling it Bourbonic up until now, but a little bit of 4 o'clock morning research this morning, Bourbonic seemed to be like the actual proper pronunciation, but I don't know, we might do Bourbonic because everybody has been, and let them change next time.
Well, if the owners want to make it official,
Yes. Yes.
give Travis a call.
Please.
Mary wants to know, does the rain make it really difficult to call a race? Which has, I think today or September was your only Derby experience.
Like American Pharoah was dry, everybody else has been wet. It's brutal. What's really hard is when rainy and like foggy and sort of just hazy. Justify's year was the hardest year to see anything going on. There's a horse named Vino Rosso that had green silks that by the time they got to the far turn looked black. So that was brutal. The best conditions are it's just overcast, no sun, but no rain. Then the colors. But this conditions like this are second best by far.
How do you memorize the names and the jockey colors?
I mean, at the beginning of the day, it's actually pretty easy. It's 12 horses in a couple of minutes. But toward the end of the day, when your mind's tired and you're sort of ready for a break, you use but sort of devices that help align them. So there's a horse in this race called Paris Lights who had all black silks. And so I just envisioned the light out, darkness, and just that little mental connection allowed me to memorize Paris Lights. But these were horses that I've seen before and are well known in racing. So it's, when you get to random races, like an earlier race today, I'm trying to think. I remember this horse, Hatmaker Holiday. I pictured a green and purple hat, and just helped me to get the dots and get there. But so, this is a cheat sheet. So during the race, I can look. These things aren't coming to me quick.
Where's your homemade thing?
Oh.
Yeah, this is a dry cleaner hanger and duct tape. This has been around since American Pharoah, and when you clip the program to it around my neck, and I'm completely hands-free. I can just quickly look down. Others don't use these devices, and they'll call the race like this. And in order to program, they have to do this. Well, to do that, you're both pulling the binoculars down, and it seems like nothing, but it's a ton of time in a race. Like that's a second that you're losing, that you're not watching the horses. This is a godsend.
you have a patent.
Yeah, there's eight people that would want to use that.
Okay, does anyone have questions for Travis? Get them in quick because he's got some work to do. Big day. Oh, someone wants to know if you have any mint juleps, I'm assuming.
I don't mind mint juleps, but I'm not a mint julep guy. And I don't drink during the day. After the Derby, I'll have a beer. That's
and
about it.
We are live right now on NBCSN, and post time is 5:51 on NBCSN. So everyone tune in, but you can turn it on now and watch coverage up until then. Kimberly, we'll close it out here with Kimberly. So, what was your favorite race to call of all time?
It would probably be my first Derby, just because I'd never been here before. So I'd been here, but not for the Derby. So that was just a wild experience. Stay calm all week, and also experiencing everything about the Derby. It was just it was insane. And of course, it was a cool race too, and a Triple Crown winner. So it'd probably be the one.
Well, thanks, Travis. And yeah, live on SN right now for Oaks coverage, and tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. coverage for the 107th Kentucky Derby on NBC. So thank you so much. I'll be coming up here and visiting you each year.
You got it. Enjoy the Derby and the